Hi there, Steve McGee, Secretary of the AEA, just reporting back to members with an update. Today's the 4th of February 2014. Just to give you an update on the progress of our negotiations since before Christmas. We came back in the new year for a further Fair Work Commission conciliation on the 8th of January to try and progress what Ambulance Victoria and the government had put to us back on the 28th of November. And just to remind you of that proposal, their proposal was 6%, 3% and 3%. And then of course an agreement to a work value case subject to negotiating about half a dozen conditions away, and some of those conditions were the rolled-in rate, a statewide relieving model or reserve model, the removal or the changes to the priority zero window for meal breaks, a reduction in part-time employment conditions, for example overtime rates of pay for part-time employees, performance appraisals, which we're not against and we've made that quite clear to them, and I'm trying to think what the last one is, but I can't remember what that is. Anyway, not to worry. So we had had a conference on the 8th of January to try and progress those matters, and it's been slow going. Since that conference on the 8th, there's been little progress in regard to trying to haul in the dates for the wage increases. The government and AV were offering the wage increases, we think, too far into the future. The 6% was on ratification of the enterprise agreement in Fair Work Commission, and that could mean any time between now and the middle of the year, even if we were agreeable to it today. The 3% was to be paid on the 1st of July 2015, and then the last 3% 1st of July 2016, with the expiry of the agreement in November 2017. And as you'd be aware, we put out documentation indicating you haven't had a wage increase since 2011, August 2011. The current agreement expired in November 2012, so effectively what AV and the government were offering was a 5-year deal for that 12%. We've proposed bringing dates forward. We haven't reached an agreement on those dates. We are acceptable of a work value case, but just on your skills and expertise and professionalism, not subject to negotiating away conditions. We have informed them that we're prepared to, depending on the outcome of a work value case, look at the rolled-in rate and look at other concepts in the way that people receive shift penalties, and of course that's subject to an agreement by the members. We are prepared to look at a statewide relieving model, and we've proposed that they have an SRP type model for people to choose to be SRPs right across the state if they want to, for agreed periods of time, paid as SRPs and utilised as a reservist for up to an hour's travel. But again, we're saying it should be voluntary, not compulsory. That's been rejected by AV. And of course there's a number of other things that we've been trying to negotiate on in regard to those conditional arrangements that they've set. And unfortunately we haven't resolved it at this stage. On Thursday, last Thursday, the 30th of January, we met with AV and the government in the commission again, but it wasn't in a conference. And there was indications out of those discussions that we would try and concentrate on the outstanding issues to see if we could resolve them. Hence we went into the commission yesterday with a conference before Deputy President Smith, yesterday being Monday the 3rd of February. And unfortunately, I would say, is that we've probably gone backwards. The government and AV provided a document to the union and to the MSPA representative that indicated that they were only offering a 6% wage increase. It didn't have anything about a $1,500 sign-on fee, although later on they clarified that. It didn't have a term of the agreement, and what I mean by that is how many years it would go over. They still agree to a work value subject to conditions regarding those 5 or 6 other items that they want negotiated away. So we felt that it was actually a back down on what their previous offer was of the 12% plus a word value. And of course, we told the Commissioner or Deputy President Smith that we didn't think that conciliation could progress the matter any further. So we felt that conciliation had come to an end. And AV and the government were informed of that. There was no storming out of the conciliation conference by the union, and there was no walking away from the table. We informed them that we didn't think that we could progress the matter through conciliation. We are now considering making an application to the Fair Work Commission to conduct a protected action ballot of the members. That application will go in this week. It has to be heard in the Commission within 48 hours. We would expect that to happen before Friday. That's so we can put it to a vote of the members to increase industrial bans, and the list of those bans would be contained in the application and would be put out to the members, and the Electoral Commission would conduct a vote if approved by the Fair Work Commission. There's been a mad flurry overnight in the press about what's gone on yesterday and today, and there's been statements by the Minister and I believe Greg Sasella has sent out an email to every employee saying that they haven't backed down from their 12% offer. I've written to Greg Sasella today seeking clarification of that and what is actually AV's position. We will get a bulletin out to members as soon as possible. There is a State Council meeting of elected State Councillors and delegates next Wednesday, the 12th of February at Victorian Trades Hall in the corner of Lygon Street and Victoria Street. And the reason why it's at that location is because our training room where we normally have the meetings has been double booked, so we can't avoid that. And at that State Council meeting, Ambulance Victoria and the Department of Health officials have been invited to speak to the State Councillors. And they've been given an hour and a half to speak to the State Councillors and delegates next Wednesday to talk about their wage proposal, to hear concerns and questions from the State Councillors and delegates. So if you're elected reps at your branch or your local State Councillor is coming to that meeting next Wednesday, make sure you put to them some of the questions that you want answered by Ambulance Victoria and the Department of Health directly next Wednesday. And just to finish off, our current industrial bans are still in place. That's talking to the media, talking to the politicians, talking to the public, putting the stories out there, telling them about the crisis in ambulance, the continued writing on the ambulance vehicles, on the windows of ambulance vehicles. And I know that AV have had a concerted campaign to try and clean those windows and things like that, but that ban is still on, and we would ask of you to continue to write messages on those ambulances, and we'll try and get some standard messages out to the delegates so they can inform the troops about what sort of messages should be put up there. Of course, the upward relieving ban is still in place. So we would expect everyone to continue to wear their code red shirts, continue to send out the message, continue to ride on the ambulances, and we'll keep you informed of any updated position that's been put to the union, and then we'll start to have a series of members meetings when we can get it to a position that we can bring more information back to you. Thanks for that.
That's good.